Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gaurish Rajaratnam, Director of the National Council of Canadian Tamils. We have two people here that will be making a statement regarding Tamil Genocide Remembrance Day. To my left here is Professor Sri Ranjan. He's a chairperson of the National Council of Canadian Tamils. And to my right is Uma Nedumaran, who is here from Tamil Nadu, India, as a human rights activist.
Thank you, Gaurish. We are here today to mark the Tamil Genocide Remembrance Day. To understand the context and history of the Tamil nation in the island of Ceylon, let us look at the quote by Sir Hugh Cleghorn, who is the first British colonial secretary to Ceylon. He wrote in his minutes to His Majesty's government in 1796, open quotes, "Two different nations from a very ancient period had divided between them in possession of the island Ceylon. First the Sinhalese, inhabiting the interior of the country in the southern and western parts, and the Tamils, who possessed the northern and eastern districts. These two nations differ entirely in their religion, language, and manners." Close quotes. The Dutch and the Portuguese, who were colonial rulers before the British, did keep them as separate nations, but the British amalgamated these very different nations in 1833 for administrative purposes. Based on this historical oversight, it will be a fatal mistake if the international community tries to approach the long-burning ethnic crisis between the two nations residing in Ceylon on the false grounds of an internal problem of a, within quotes, sovereign state as people perceive. Instead, this crisis involves two nations, one, Tamils of Eelam and Sinhalese of Sri Lanka, which were brought together by the British only 176 years ago. On leaving the island in 1948, the departing British handed over the whole country to the numerically larger Sinhalese population, which continued to pass laws that aided the genocide of the Tamils. This month, we mark 8 years since the Mulliwaikal massacre, where UN estimated at least 40,000 innocent civilians were killed, and an independent estimate suggests more than 70,000 innocent civilians may have been killed. In the last 8 years, the UNHRC conducted limited international investigation into allegations of crimes committed during the war, based on which it requested a full international investigation. Tens of thousands of Tamils have been killed in periodic pogroms against the Tamils in the past 69 years, and no one has been charged for these crimes yet. Given that Sri Lanka has continued to destroy the Tamil nation with impunity for the past 7 decades, an international investigation is needed to stop the ongoing genocide. In February 2015, the Northern Provincial Council in Sri Lanka passed a resolution that demanded a UN inquiry into investigate the genocide of the Tamil people by successive Sri Lankan governments. The systematic genocide of Tamils in Sri Lanka by successive state regimes still continues. State-sponsored programs, ethnically marginalized education system, colonizing historical Tamil nation, hopeful or forceful disappearance of Eelam Tamils, universally prohibited torture camps, and rape as a weapon of war or suppression were a few genocidal tactics that is carried out by the Sri Lankan government with impunity. In September 2015, the OISL report clearly mentioned that many of the violations would amount to war crimes and crimes against humanity if established in a court of law. In October 2015, the UNHRC adopted a consensus resolution in which the new Sri Lankan government pledged to undertake many human rights reforms, including many transitional justice mechanisms, such as establishing a hybrid court with foreign judges, prosecutors, and investigators. It is not surprising to us that Sri Lanka has reneged on all of these pledges. The Canadian government has been very active advocate for Tamils' rights in Sri Lanka since 2009. We thank the Canadian government for their active participation in UNHRC by co-sponsoring the UN resolution and standing up for the human rights and justice. We also thank our government for boycotting the Commonwealth Heads of Governments meeting in Colombo, Sri Lanka, and for targeting the funds to implement basic human rights practice. We also thank all parties who supported the call for investigation of genocide in Sri Lanka. Canada was willing to provide foreign judges, prosecutors, and investigators to set up a hybrid court as outlined in the last UNHRC resolution, which had due date of implementation ending March this year. This has now been extended for another 2 years, despite the refusal of Sri Lanka to allow foreign judges to enter the country. Despite the Canada's efforts and international community's pressure, the Sri Lankan government continues to remain belligerent. There is no tangible progress made in transnational justice, and the Sri Lankan government continues to deny any foreign involvement in the hybrid court in clear violation of the UNHRC resolution it co-sponsored. We urge Canada to take more active role and to work with the international community to pressure for an international independent judicial inquiry. We want the Canadian government to recognize Tamil genocide, and we want recognition of the right of the Tamil nation to determine their own destiny for long-lasting peace to prevail in the island. Thank you very much. I call upon Ms. Uma Nadumaran to speak a few words about the resolution passed in Tamil Nadu, India.
Good morning, friends. I come from Tamil Nadu, a southern state in the eastern coast of India, just about 20 nautical miles away from the northern and eastern part of Sri Lanka, where the Tamils live. We, the people of Tamil Nadu, are more emotionally bound with the issue, not only because we share an ethnic relationship with the Tamils of Sri Lanka, but mainly because we have more close-up shots of the issue. We have heard their plight, their life, their history, and their struggle in their own words and not from the media. We understand that their struggle is for a life with dignity and self-esteem through self-determination for their homeland. It is in this background that the Tamil Nadu State Assembly passed a resolution on March 27, 2013, recognizing what is happening in Sri Lanka against the Tamils is a systematic genocide, and hence urging the Indian government to slap economic sanctions on Sri Lanka. The resolution also demanded the formation of a separate state in Sri Lanka through the means of a referendum by a resolution at the UN Security Council, which should be conducted among the Tamils in Sri Lanka and other displaced Tamils across the world. The resolution also called on the Indian government to stop considering Sri Lanka as a friendly country and impose economic sanctions, as well as calling for an international inquiry on the genocide and war crimes committed against the Tamils. In continuance of that, I stand before you on behalf of the 80 million Tamils of Tamil Nadu, requesting the Canadian government to recognize what is happening in Sri Lanka against the Tamils is a systematic genocide, and to ensure the safety, security, and dignity of the Sri Lankan Tamils socially, psychologically, and politically. The Tamil struggle started out as non-violent, turned to violence, now again it is non-violent. Tamils are still waiting for justice. if there ever was a window for the international community to address the question of Tamil justice in Sri Lanka, it is now. Thank you.